If Charles Leclerc didn't have bad luck, he would quite literally have no luck at all. But that's a good thing for us because if it wasn't for the man made horrors that did Leclerc dirty, then this sprint qualifying could have been uploaded as a you snooze, you lose compilation. Austria reminds me of Monza a lot. The way the circuit itself is quite boring, it has the least amount of corners of any circuit at 10, and it's the shortest in lap time. So watching a car go around the circuit just by itself isn't very exciting, but somehow we always end up with a good event in Austria regardless. So shout out to Austria for proving that being small and short isn't so bad. So what made this session interesting? Nothing. Literally nothing. When SQ1 started, nothing happened for the first 2 minutes at least, and then half the grid all went out at once. SQ2 was pretty normal. All the cars went right away, did 2 runs, and then SQ3 starts. It's an 8-minute session. Nobody moves for the first 5 minutes. Nobody. It was like it was baffling. And then 3 minutes remains. George Russell just says, "Look, mate, I'm gonna fall asleep. Can I get out of here?" At which point, all 10 cars scramble to get out of the pits, tripping over each other, holding each other up so much that Perez and both the Alpines ended up compromising each other's outlaps and flying laps, all posted really bad times. And Leclerc didn't even make it around in time to get a lap in. Now, his problem was a little bit more unique in that he had an engine problem. He had to stop in the pit lane, restart his engine, and then go out, and he missed it by like a hair. The announcers actually thought he made it across, but it must have been less than a second. It was super super close. Uh, yeah, it was just total madness. Literally man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. I mean, actually, in a way, it was even worse because it was within my comprehension, which just makes it so much more baffling. So, what was going on here? Why did they do this? Well, it's pretty simple. Austria only has 10 turns, very long straights, and also uphill straights, which means it's a very power and top speed focused track, which also means that getting a slipstream at this track is extremely beneficial. So if you go out first, your rival is just going to go out right after you and benefit quickly. So what happens is everybody just sits in the pits waiting for somebody else to go out first, right? And so then what happened is they all just sit there not moving, just looking like who's going to move first, who's going to move first. And that's why as soon as George went out, everybody just followed him, right? It's one of those things that makes F1 difficult for some audiences to watch because objectively speaking, SQ3 was horrible television, right? You've just got 5 minutes of the 10 fastest cars in the world sitting in the pits with their tire blankets on as the clock counts down. Like objectively, that is not interesting. But if you know what's going on, it's still ridiculous, but at least it's interesting and entertaining. And that's what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel is just make F1 a little bit more interesting and entertaining by explaining kind of what's happening with these. So hopefully you get a little bit out of these videos. Other than that, it was a pretty predictable session. Again, being a power focused circuit means it's pretty predictable in terms of you can just kind of guess based on there's not a lot the driver can do really to make a difference around the lap. So you had Max P1, both McLarens were very very quick as predictable, P2 and P3. Mercedes continued their good form with P4 and 6, as did Alpine, making 8th and ninth. Double Q3 or SQ3 showing for them. Perez being Perez, P7, what do you expect at this point? I'm sure 8 races before the end of the year, he's going to magically become the next Max Verstappen. Leclerc with that engine problem down in 10th. Sargent actually outqualified Albon, making it into SQ2. So it turns out all you need to do to make him good is just get rid of as many turns on the circuit as possible. Sonoda ahead of Ricardo, Sauber at the back, pretty normal stuff. So not a super interesting grid for tomorrow, but I'm counting on an interesting sprint race regardless. It seems like this track always finds a way to deliver. So get subscribed, get excited for tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.